At Columbia University, activists once again take over the campus, setting up the library as a liberated zone and immediately going into song and dance with senseless chants.
We have nothing to lose but our time! We have nothing to lose but our shame!
Until their occupied protest was told by security they weren't allowed to leave unless they can provide student ID or they'll be arrested for trespassing.
Please produce your identification card and you will be allowed to leave without issue. If you fail to do so, you will be arrested.
As President Trump's Secretary of State stated, they are going to verify the visa status of these trespassers. Imagine infiltrating a private university, attacking their security, damaging their property, and stopping their operations, but somehow being surprised when they simply want to verify, do you even go to this school?
So we'd all eat, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Okay, go home.
And unfortunately for them, they don't have to be a student there for Columbia to teach them about consequences. As Freedom News shows us, the other protesters were demanding they be freed from the occupied zone they created. Now what's hilarious is how ultra-left Reddit asks, why do they need to show ID to leave despite not needing ID to enter? They literally can't tell the difference between sneaking onto a campus and trying to flee the scene of a crime, as these idiots think being detained during an investigation is false imprisonment, or somehow kidnapping. As just because you're acting like a child doesn't mean the law is going to treat you like a kid. But then they said, falsely pull the fire alarm, receiving 3,000 upvotes and several people agreeing. And that's exactly what they did. Where the funniest reply was, imagine the irony of occupying private property that you later get trapped inside. It's almost like these activists are allergic to consequences, as let's just for a moment believe that all these bad things happening overseas are in direct result of what Columbia University is doing. But it's hard to boycott a place that you are neither educated enough or rich enough to be a customer of. So sneaking in to disrupt Reading Room 301 was the only way you could stop the war. Wouldn't saving those hundreds of thousands of lives be worth being arrested over? Or do you not really believe anything you're saying? You're just equal parts bored, unemployed, and useless with nothing better to do than break into a school that you don't belong to, demanding actions that they aren't even capable of. So nobody has an issue when these dudes with shoe-sized IQs finally find out, as he thought nobody would be able to stop him. And when the NYPD finally responded in full force, marching about 100 coppers into the campus, Burgundy Shirt Guy was one of the first to be arrested. But not the last, as large groups of these activists walked out in cuffs. As an entire bus of protesters were filled with them, where they didn't even leave until after sundown. As Columbia University's acting president put out a statement that several officers were injured, so they had to contact the NYPD to assist in arrests. And the New York City mayor responded by writing, "To the parents of students protesting, call your kids to make it clear that breaking the law is wrong." I love everything about this response, as it addresses the students' parents that are likely shelling out over $500,000 so their kids can go to an Ivy League school to practice performative activism, as any parent that's paying any attention would immediately cut off all financial assistance to this. But it also finally addresses how inorganic these paid-for protests are, by prosecuting the outside forces that infiltrate these schools. As when the Daily Mail covered the story, they stated they arrested them for trespassing after failing to produce student IDs, as nearly 70 of them apparently warned students after injuring 2 security guards. And after President Trump revoked hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds to these Ivy League schools for not controlling the protests last year, they had to lay off 180 staff members. as we just covered how they protested at Columbia last year, also they could do performative dances that they thought would end the war, but only ended in mass arrests. And when Trump took office, over 300 student visas have been revoked. As remember, that occupied protest lasted 3 weeks, and all the way over in California, similar protests shut down our public universities as well. And every time they arrested but refused to charge the protesters, they went right back to campus to shut it down again. So what's happening at Columbia University is a welcome change, expelling the students, destroying property, revoking visas to anybody visiting the country just to break our laws, and identifying and charging the trespassers that impede the school's ability to educate, as the schools really only need to do this a couple of times to never have this issue again. So if you appreciate my concise commentary, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how the union protest in LA is also backfiring.